Okay. Good morning, everybody. What a auspicious day to learn Chassidus, to learn Tanya today, as it is the Chav Kislev. It's the celebration of the Alter Rebbe, the one who wrote the Tanya, and who was imprisoned because of the spreading of Chassidus and the teaching of Chassidus, and as we brought down that the Alter Rebbe's 53 chapters of Tanya correspond to the 53 days that he was imprisoned by the Russian authorities. But ultimately, the Russian authorities, as the Rebbe explained, the Yutas Kislev, Yutas and Chav Kislev, these 2 days, impress upon us the concept of how the Goyim, the Russian authorities, the nations of the world, realize that it's important, the teaching of Chassidus to the world. It's not only important to the Yidden of the world, the teachings of Chassidus are important to the world at large, because the refinement of the world, the way the world is refined, is through the learning of Chassidus, through the learning of kabbala. And as the Zohar itself writes, B'hai Sifra, with this book, the book of the Zohar, the teachings of kabbala, Yifkum Mibei Galusa, with these teachings we will be redeemed from the exile. Why the learning of Chassidus help us in the redemption of Golus? Because the whole concept of Golus, exile, and redemption is the concept of the revelation of godliness in the world. So Golus is lack of revelation, and Geula is revelation. So when you have the revelation of God in the world, you have an ultimate concept of redemption. Because when there's revelation and God's light is revealed in the world, then there's nothing lacking in the world. Because everything in the world needs to serve. Everything in the world needs to serve. Every Gashmi, every physical thing in the world needs to serve. And wants to serve. Because everything in the world wants a purpose. Everything in the world wants a purpose. There's nothing in the world that doesn't want its purpose. And every inanimate object, or every vegetation, or every animal, and ultimately every human being wants its purpose. Because the purpose gives it light, the purpose gives it focus, the purpose gives it excitement. So the more we can have purpose in the time of Golus, the more we can bring about the concept of light in the concept of darkness. That's why there's an expression in Tanya and Chassidus, Yisroina Oir Min HaChoshech, the greatness of the light that comes from darkness. That even though we're all begging that Mashiach should come, but because we want to have light in the world, but actually today in Galus, in exile, where there's darkness, the light has a much greater penetration. The light has a much greater purpose, because it's dark. It's like taking a dark room and bringing light into it. If you have a light room, a room that's lit, and there's lit, what's going to help bring in more light? The light is not going to add to it. The light adds to a place where there's darkness. So today, in a time of darkness, that we can bring a little bit of light into this world. And the best place to bring light into the world is in our minds. That's the best place you can bring light in this world. Because once you bring light in wisdom, then light has an existence, a reality, and a purpose, and it could last much longer than when you bring light in any other places of a human being. And that's why it's so important, the Alter Rebbe said, by writing the Tanya, that a Jew should connect to Chabad. A Jew should connect his service of God to Chabad, to Chachma, bina and das, to wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. And it's important, the Alter Rebbe says, to comprehend even these three concepts: wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. Chabad. Because it's important that we go from level to level. The Eibishter God created us as human beings, that we are, in a way, fashioned that things take time. You see the difference even between a human being and an animal, that an animal is created and he's right away functionable. A human being is created and he cannot function without the help of his parents. If he didn't have a mother, God forbid, he wouldn't exist. He would have to have somebody else to help him. A human being is created in a way like a mahalach. It is constant growth. The problem is we think once we come a certain age that we have finished our growth. But that's not true. A human being was created in a constant growth. He never ends his growth. Not only Chassidus tells us you never end your growth in this world, you actually never end your growth ever. Ever. Whether your neshama is in this world or whether your neshama lives this world. Because we always say, we say to a person who has a yard site, we say he should have an aliyah and a neshama. That the soul of the departed should have an aliyah, should have an elevation. That means that the neshama is in growth. He continues to grow even after he leaves the body. We are in continuous growth. That's why the sages tell us. It says, Avram ba bayomim. The verse says, Abraham came with his days. What is the meaning of that? And one of the meanings is that he came with every day. Every day was not part of a year. Today, people talk in years. The year to 2020, everybody remember the year of 2020. What about the days in 2020? It was 365 days in 2020. It was not just a year, it was a year with days. And there was a year in that days, there were hours, and there were minutes, and there were seconds. So every moment counts. Every moment counts. And Avraham Avinu understood that a Jew, that a human being is in constant growth. He's not only growing by the year, he's actually growing by the day. That's why we say Moidani, for the same reason. We say Moidani, and actually we daven, we say the exact same blessings. We said the blessings yesterday, we said the blessings the day before, but today it's a new blessing. It's a new day. It's a whole new reality. Today is a better day. If yesterday was fantastic, today is double fantastic. Because it continues to grow. It continues to get better. It never stops getting better. That's one of the major teachings of the Baal Shem Tov, the major teachings of the Alter Rebbe in Tanya, that it really, my friends, everything in life depends in the way I look at it. There can be two people that live through the same situation or similar situations, and one of them looks through one way and the other one looks at another way. So the question is, what is the reality? Is the reality like A or the reality like B? And the answer is the reality is way each person wants to be. He makes reality. Every human being makes his own reality. And that reality by him is real. So therefore the Gemara says, you want to be positive, then your life will be a positive reality. It doesn't make a difference what's happening in the world. It doesn't make a difference what's going on. A person who wants to be positive will never move away from this positivity. A one person wants to be negative, that will be his reality. Then everything in life will be negative. Everything in life will be negative. You're not going to be able to explain to him, no, the situation is positive. No, by him it's negative. Because by him, that's his reality. He created that reality, and that's his reality. That became his reality. We make our reality. There's a famous story of Rabbi Sachs, Jonathan Sachs, who went to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe asked him about what's going on. So he says, in the situation that I am now in the situation that I'm now involved in, my reality, the Rebbe says, by Jews, you're not put in a situation. You put yourself in a situation. You're not put in a situation. You have the capability of taking every situation and putting yourself into a different reality. Even though the situation might be a negative situation, but a human being has the capability to, through his mind, to change the situation, so that the situation has a total different meaning to him. That's the power of Chassidut, my friend. That's what the Alter Rebbe wanted to accomplish with the learning of Tanya, that people would take their seichel, chochma, bina, das, their wisdom and understanding and knowledge, and they would create a whole different reality. They would change their own reality, and they'll change the world. Because we ultimately need to change the world. And that's why it says, the Rambam says at the end of his book, Maimonides, he writes that there'll come a day when Mashiach comes, that the Jewish people in the world will be chachamim gedolim. There'll be unbelievable men and women of wisdom. And what's going to be the wisdom? The wisdom is going to be in the knowledge of God. Kamayim hayom lachasim, as the water covers the sea. As the water covers the land.
Can't wait, Rabbi.
Amen. But you don't have to wait.
Okay.
You don't have to wait. That's the problem. People think they have to wait. You're gonna wait. You're gonna wait. We're gonna wait forever. No,
right. We have to make that a reality, right?
Now, we have to live right now in our minds. That kind of a concept. We got to live right now. Messianic concept, a concept of knowledge, a concept of wisdom, a concept where the world will be in its perfection, because it's up to us, each and every one of us, to learn to use your chachma, bin and das, your wisdom and knowledge and understanding to the knowledge of God, which is revelation, which is the
That's
revelation.
why I listen to you, Rabbi.
Don't listen to me. Listen to
that's part of it. No, that's part of it.
100%. So let's learn the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe, we're holding in chapter 51 of Tanya. That's what we're holding. Middle of chapter 51, I believe. And the Alter Rebbe is talking about Seder Shtalshlus. He's talking about oil. He's talking about this concept. The concept of Seder Shtalshlus. Concept in the Zohar. In the Arizal, teachings of the Arizal, is the aspect of the Seder Shtalshlus means the way the light of God comes to the world. The way the light of God comes to the world. And the way the light of God comes to the world, in a physical world, where ultimately you only see the physicality, and the light is diminished. So you would think that the light is not there, chas v'shalom. The light is not there. God forbid. And you would think maybe the light is different than the way the light is above. You might come to that conclusion. If it's not, maybe it is there. I might say it is there. But the light of God is seemingly a different light. The light of God in the heavens, in Gan Eden, or wherever you want to believe that the light of God is stronger, there's a certain light. And the light of God that's in this world is a different light. Comes Chassidus and tells us the opposite. God forbid to say that. The Eibishter, God, Ani Havaya Loisha Nisi. I am God, I do not change. There's no change within me. If you would say the light changes, then Chas v'Shalom, we're changing God. God doesn't change. It's the vessel that changes. Now, this is an important lesson, teaching. If we understand that God doesn't change, you can never change God. Nothing can change God. And therefore, the Eibishter continues to come to anywhere where you want him to be. And that's why God says, wherever you are, you call me, I will be there. Because it's up to the vessel, to the existence, or to the kind of light that's going to come into it. So if I want my Chabad, my vessel, if I refine my vessel, and I want my vessel to be able to have greater light, you'll have greater light. You want lesser light, you'll have lesser light. But that doesn't change the light. The light is there for everyone to tap into the Oir Havaya, everyone to tap into the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the light of God. And there's no VIP in this purpose. There's no VIP. Every single yid, every single human being is equal, because to the light, everything is equal. There's no upper or lower to the light. There's no upper or lower to God. The concept of upper and lower is the humans. To humans, there's an aspect of upper and lower, but not to God. To God, everybody is equal. Everything has its purpose. Whether it's an important thing or not, to God, it's all equal. There's no big mitzvah, there's no small mitzvah. There's a mitzvah. There's no big person, there's no small person. Every person to God is equal. Because to the Eibishter, he needs every person. And the proof he needs every person, because you're here. If God didn't need you, then you wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. So that God, I am here and I'm sitting in this room right now and I'm learning with you, because God needs us. God needs me. And not that I'm not less important to God whether I'm Moshe Rabbeinu or I'm Zalman Bucket. Because God needs Moshe Rabbeinu, self-understood, and God needs Zalman Bucket. And he needs them both. And as you learn Chassidus, the world would not be complete without Moshe Rabbeinu, and the world would not be complete without each and every one of us. And it's an important lesson, that, because people think that they have a lack of need, that nobody needs them, God forbid. People have this feeling that we're not needed. Oh, what am I going to accomplish in the world? I'm not going to be a big mover and shaker in this world. I'm not going to be a big sage. I'm not going to be a big leader. And if I am a leader, I'll be a leader, a little show, I'll have a little group. What am I needed? Chassidus says everyone is needed. Every single one is needed. Nobody should think that he is not needed. Nobody should think that he is not important. He's actually as important as anyone can be. And we see that by Moshe Rabbeinu himself, and so soon you see by all tzaddikim throughout history. That the Eibishter, when they got challenged, tzaddikim throughout history, and we have the example of Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses himself, when God challenged, Moshe Rabbeinu said, let us get rid of the wicked of the Jewish nation. He said, no, it's not possible. It's not going to go that way. To me, the wicked are as important as the righteous. And Moshe Rabbeinu was Moshe Nefesh for seemingly the wicked of the Jewish nation. To give them a chance, to give every person a chance to work on himself. not to just write him off because he's wicked, because he's not good. And so you see that from all history, and we saw that from the Rebbe. We don't have to have this thing where you read in the books. To those who live with the Lubavitcher Rebbe knows that was his life. Life was about caring about another Jew. Did it make a difference to him if he was a great Jew or was a sinning Jew? It didn't make a difference to him. It doesn't make, and why? Because tzaddikim are doim lebayram. It says righteous people are like their creator, and just like the creator loves everybody. Some doesn't not love what he does, but he loves everybody irrelevant, and he hopes a day will come and the person will change and become better. So too the tzaddik loves everybody and hopes for a day will come and will be better. So too we all need to be like that. We don't have to love the actions of people, certain people, and maybe their actions are wrong, and maybe their actions are not conducive to godliness. But we hope a day that they'll do tshuva. We hope for a day that they're going to rectify it, that we love them, and through our love to them, will ultimately change them. Hopefully. But that's not our agenda. Is love. Whatever's going to happen, that's their agenda. It's their purpose. A guy told me once, the guy told me, just texted me in someplace, said I was passing somebody and I helped somebody. And the guy said to him, well, while you're helping him, this might be, they might be abusing the money you give them. And he said, I remember once when I was booking, I was in a car with you. We pulled up to a corner. The guy was asking for money, and I handed him $1. And he said, why? How do you know what the guy's going to do with the $1? So the answer, what Torah gives is, I have to do mine. I have to give him $1. What he does is, that's between him and God. What I do, I have to help people. I have to help people. I'm on the world to give. I want to be a giver. The Eibusher, as I tell you many times, the Eibusher give us all that we should be givers. We should be in that mode, the mode of giving, not the mode of receiving. We should be in the mode of giving, and the Eibusher, to the God, we should be receiving. That's where your expression in Tehillim, it says, that we come to a situation we don't need to come on to others. We say that in Yom Kippur, when the Kohen Gadol goes into the Holy of Holies, his prayer was that the Yidden, Jewish nation should have all their needs. They shouldn't have to come on to others. Not even to each other. They should have the able to give us all our needs. That that we should be givers. And only receive from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because whatever we give is what we receive from God. So the Eibishter is oir. God itself is not oir. But we in Chassidus, we specifically characterize godliness as oir. Because oir comes from a ma'or. Oir is simple. Oir is light. Light is simple. Light goes anywhere. Wherever light is not confined into a certain place. Light goes where it's allowed. So the sun shines, it will go anywhere. You want to open the shades, the sun will come in. It's not going to say, oh, I'm not coming to this house. I'm not going to that house. Or that house I don't like. No, light will go everywhere. Light goes everywhere it's allowed in. You can have beautiful windows in your house and have but it's totally dark up. You shade it up. You put the big things against the window, not allowing the light in. But light will go anywhere. The Eibusher goes everywhere. He's not particular. He's the Eibusher's chesed, which chesed goes anywhere. Anywhere you want to put it. And the truth is, the Eibusher will go to places, you take God to places that he doesn't want to go, he'll go there too. Because that's the quality of oir. But then you're taking the oir and you're bringing it to places that the oir doesn't want to go, but he's forced to go because that is the characteristics of oir. So let's go to the Tanya. And we're holding in middle of chapter 51, the beautiful lessons of the Tanya. Let me see if I can bring it up on the screen. Oops. Okay. So here's the beautiful lessons of the Tanya. The Alter Rebbe is teaching us the concept of Seder Shtalshus, the way the Eibishter comes down from a very high place until a very low place, as he says, and until he comes to a place, a very physical place, this world, which in Kabbalah is called Olam HaChumri VaHagashmi, a very corporal and physical world. So what does that mean? That God, the Machai, the Eibush comes down into this physical world. That's what I'm about to go back a little bit back. So these garments with the blessed and invested and conceals the light and vitality are so strong and powerful. So God, in essence, you have Seder Shtal, going back to the descent of godliness to the world. So Chassidus says it goes from Olam Atzilus, the world of emanation, which is a world of godliness, much more godliness, and it comes down into the Olam Hatzida with the vessel more physical, and now the godliness, the oil doesn't have the capability because the vessel doesn't allow it to come into it, and then it comes down to the world of Yetzirah, and that creates a more physical vessel, so more vessels and less oil. And then we come down to Elam Asiyah, to the world of action, where almost the oil seemingly is not there. The oil is hidden. The light is hidden. So let's go to Alter Rebbe. So in essence, it's not about the oil, it's about the vessels. The oil is the same exact oil. This oil that comes into the world of action is the same oil that's in the world of Atzilus. The oil did not change. It's the vessel that changed. And because the vessel that changed, automatically the oil changes. Again, like we say, Shivim Panim L'Torah. There's 70 ways to learn Torah, the Gemara says. The Arizal says, in the Zohar it says, there's actually 600,000 ways to learn Torah. 600,000 ways. And the Alter Rebbe says, what does that mean? There's 600,000 ways. There's actually more than that. There's 600,000 times 600,000. Why are there so many different ways to learn Torah? Because every Jew has his own seichel, has his own mind. And God wanted that every single Jew should learn the Torah with his own chachma, bina, das, his own wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. God wanted that every human being, every Jew especially, should learn Torah with his own seichel. You shouldn't just learn Torah with somebody else's seichel. You should learn Torah with somebody else's knowledge. I should learn Torah with my own knowledge. And that's the beauty. It's not just to repeat what somebody else says. The real way of learning is to learn from somebody else and now incorporate it in your own Chabad. When I hear something, I incorporate it in my own Chachma Bin and Das. And we all look at the Torah differently. You know what that teaching of Arizal is? That teaching that Arizal is, my friends, very powerful teaching. The teaching is that the Torah was given to each and every one of us. There's 600,000 times 600,000 ways to look at every pasuk. Every verse that you're going to open up and learn. Every verse you're going to open up and learn. That God wants to hear you the way you interpret the verse. And the way I interpret the verse. And I'm going to interpret the verse different than anybody else. Nobody else will interpret the verse like I interpret it. And that's beautiful. You should always make sure, that's why the Gemara says, they always made sure that it was connected to the teacher's teaching. Always make sure that it's connected to something higher. It's connected to the verse, or it's connected to a teaching on the verse. Take the Torah of the Arizal, like the Alter Rebbe did. Take the Torah of Baal Shem Tov and expand it. Then it becomes your Torah, but it's connected. It's a chain that's connected. So too in the Stalshus HaOlam, in the way God brought down the light to the world. Olam Asiyah should be connected to Olam HaYitzirah, to the world of formation. And the world of formation is connected to the world of creation. And the world of creation is connected to the world of emanation, Atzilus. And that world is connected to Eira and Seif. That's how you have the chain events. That's where you have the connection. How do you connect it to something higher? So the trick is to learn Torah with humility. Ego will cloud your mind. Ego will cloud my mind. That it's going to become my Torah. It's not connected to something higher. It's not connected to my teachers. That's why the Gemara says the sages would always say it in the name of the teachers. Even though the teacher did not say exactly that teaching, but it's said in the name of the teacher. It should be said in the name of your teacher. It should be said in the name of the Gemara. It should be said in the name of the Pasuk. But now, the Pasuk and the Gemara and your teacher allows you to take his teaching and expand it. Make it greater. Make it more relevant. And each and every person has a different reality. So how do we take the teachings of our teachers and our sages that it maybe didn't have our reality, and they don't have our realities, and we take that teaching and we bring it into our reality? That's the beauty when you connect it to your teachers. And Chas Shalom, don't make it your own, totally your own, without its connection. Let's go continue in the Tanya. So the Alter Rebbe says, until ultimately he created this physical world, this corporal and physical world. And God created and animates it by a vitality and a light which he draws down and shines forth onto it. This illumination is the light that is clothed, hidden, and concealed within numerous powerful garments, which hide and conceals the light and vitality. Until that no light or vitality whatsoever is visible, revealed, but only the corporal and physical things that appear lifeless. Mesim, they're like lifeless. But you know what the truth is? You might look like a dead thing, but it's not, because it's here. So as long as it's here, yet it contains a light and vitality which continuously creates it from nothing to something, so that it shall not revert to nothingness and naught as they had prior to their creation. We have a capability from taking some, we say from something to nothing. Really, it's nothing to something. A physical thing without its revelation is dead. We have that expression. It says, it's a very harsh expression in Pirkei Avos, and that's of our fathers. It says, if you sit at a table and you eat food and you don't talk upon it, words of Torah, then the Mishnah says you ate from dead. They're dead. It's dead animals, dead fruit. Everything is dead. Everything you ate is been pulled off from its source of life. Doesn't make a difference whether it's vegetation or animals. It's been pulled off from its source of life, and it's dead. And you're eating dead. It's a very harsh expression, but it's not. The meaning is, because you if I don't say words of Torah, if I didn't make a bracha, God forbid, on my food, then the food is dead. It was dead before you ate it, because you haven't revealed the life that's in it. when we say a bracha on it, when we learn Torah, we say some words of Torah, or we use out the power that's in the food and we use it out for a positive agenda, we have brought life to it. We have taken the dead thing, something that was taken away, the tomato was taken off its tree. The apple was taken off, the tomato was taken off its vine, and it's dead. Killed it. So that you should be able to eat it, you killed it. Took it off its source of its life. Now you're giving it its true life. You're giving it the real purpose of why it was to begin with created. Why was the tomato created? Why was the chicken created? It was all created to serve God. Everything was created to serve its purpose. And if I can make a bracha on it, or I can learn Torah when I'm eating this, or I can use it out for a positive concept, I have now elevated the thing. I brought life to it. That's why you need to reveal its source. You need to reveal its vitality. So you have taken nothing, you've made it a real something. And this life that's in the tomato, this light that was in this food, is from God Himself. It's the light of God. The same light that's in the higher worlds is the same light in this physical world, in this tomato. This is unbelievable teaching. If we comprehend this, truly, we're going to look at everything differently. You're going to look at tomato differently. And before you're going to eat that tomato, you're going to make a bracha on it. And now you're going to make a bracha on this tomato, but in midshem you're going to do good things with this tomato, with the strength that you get from this tomato. The difference is the clothes in many garments. The light is the same. The light has not changed. The light of the Eibishter that gives this tomato, this physical thing, vitality, is the same light that gives Atzilus vitality. The difference is, in Atzilus, the light is very powerful. And you don't see the vessels that much. And over here, the tomato has become like the center of attention. And we can talk about tomatoes. And we can get involved in tomatoes. And we can become totally, expression, the Rebbe Rashab, once came a Yid to the Rebbe Rashab and told him, the Rebbe Rashab, how is your parnasa? He asked him, how is your livelihood? He said, Baruch Hashem, I have a great livelihood. Baruch Hashem, the Eibush gave me a great idea. And I have invented galoshin. Galoshin was boots that they wore in the rain. Especially in those days, it was not so many paved streets. And when it rained, it became very muddy. And you had to walk in the mud with your shoes. So he came up with galoshin. Galoshin was a new invention. And he said, wow, he started to explain the Rebbe Rashab about galoshin, how the greatness of galoshin. And it is a great thing. We don't have it in Florida that much. But when you're in New York, I live in New York, you always had a galoshin. Plastic, I don't know what they call it, the rubbers, shoes for rubbers. Boots for the snow. And the galoshin was like more for the rain. And the Rebbe Rashab said, wow, he said, you know what? He said, I've seen feet in galoshin. I've never seen a head in galoshin. This is the first time I've met a head in galoshin. Your head is in galoshin. Your head is in galoshin. Our head is in tomatoes. It's the same thing. It's not the tomato. It's not the galoshin. It's what we do with it. There's no question about it. Galoshin is a great invention, and it helps people to get places and not get dirty, and it helps people to walk better. But the question: where they're walking? Are they walking for something good, or they're walking to do something bad? And maybe if they're walking to do something bad, they shouldn't have galoshin. Because you get more dirty, and then they won't go there. So it depends where you're walking. It depends what we're doing. Because that's where the oil is going to come into. So if I use it out the galoshin to walk to a show, then the oil, your revealed oil in the galoshin. If I'm using it out for something negative, then what kind of oil is there? Then what kind of light is there? What's the worth of this galoshin? As it's brought down in Eitz Chaim, kabbala, that the light of vitality of the physical orb of the earth which is seen by mortal eyes, is derived from Malchus of Asiya. So Malchus of Asiya, the world of Asiya, right? Let's just say again, the 4 worlds, each and every one of these worlds has 10 manifestations. From Chabad, which is Chochmah Bina Das, which is the seichel of that world. And then you have the 7 midos. Really, it's a 6 midos. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Chod, Yisoid, Malchus. That's a Chod Yisoid, that's 6. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, kindness, severity, and beauty. Netzach, victory. Hod, Netzach, Hod is beauty or glory, and Yisoid is foundation. And then you have the lowest midah, which is Malchus, which is Balak in the 6 days of the week. And then you have Malchus, which is Shabbos, is Malchus, part of the week, but it's higher than the rest of the week because it takes within everything and it gives the blessing for the next week. So the Malchus Dasiya, the Alter Rebbe says, Ubesoicha Malchus di Yitzira. In this Malchus of Asiya, always daige in the world of Asiya. How low are you going to get? The same, it has the same oil of the world of Malchus, the Yitzira, which which is ultimately in this oil is the Yutzvirus of Atzilus, of the world of emanation. Meaning, as I said before, it says in Kabbalistic terms, I said it in the simple terms, the light never changes. Whatever is in this world is in the upper worlds. And whatever is in the upper world is in this world. The difference is the vessel. The difference is the way I want to bring out this light. Hamir which the light of Atzilus, is united with the emanator of blessed Ein Sof, is connected to God Himself. And that's how we finish chapter 52 of Tanya, 51 of Tanya. We're slowly coming to the end of Tanya. We're going to come to a whole new concept, and you have to finish the 52 chapters together. We're going to go to a whole new aspect in Tanya. You're going to love it. Such beautiful, Baruch Hashem, we have a schus to learn together. I know every Sunday, whoever's been together with us for all these years, learning Tanya in-house and now on Zoom and on Facebook, we have the capability to learn Tanya together, to learn the teachings of the Alter Rebbe, especially on this day, the 20th day of Kislev, which is the celebration of the Alter Rebbe, which the Alter Rebbe gave his life away for these teachings of Tanya, not because of his own gain. He Pasha gave his life away that we would all be able to connect to something higher. He gave these teachings that we all can understand it, each one person according to their capability, and to realize power we have. The Alter Rebbe wanted that every one of us should realize the power, the nitzis elokei, the godly soul that each and every one of us have within us, and that would change our life, and it would ultimately change the world, which is what Chassidus wants to do, to change ultimately the whole world. So, as we started off Chitas today, weekly Parsha, Bikesh Yaakov Rashi, the Rebbe would always say this, Rashi, Bikesh Yaakov Leisha B'Shalva. As humans, we all want to live in tranquility. Leave us alone. We want to live in tranquility. And that's Mashiach time. The Eibusha says to a Jew and says to Yaakov Avinu, until Mashiach comes, there's no tranquility. We need to work. We have an agenda. The purpose of creation has not been fulfilled. And therefore, there's no such thing as that. We need to get to work. We need to, each and every one of us, get to work. If God says to Yaakov Avinu, my friend, you're in this world, and there's no time, leisha b'shalva. There's no time to sit down and relax. You're in this world. We have to accomplish something in the world. You'll relax. You'll go on vacation when the job is over. We cannot go on vacation. We need to get to work. We need to do the avodah of the Eibishter in the world. We need to work on ourselves. We need to work on our environment. We need to work on the world. We need to bring Geula to this world. We cannot rest on our laurels until we bring Mashiach to the world, until we bring the Oid Havaya, the light of God to the world. And that is by bringing, I know I'm going to make you happy, Sarah. That's what I said.
We got to keep trucking, Rabbi. Got to keep trucking.
Light to the world, my friends. That's our avodah. Bring a little bit more light to the world. And I'm telling you this, why? Because I actually called we called today's charity event. We called our event today, we called it Light the Light. That's what we called it. Light the Light. So I want every one of you, everybody, to go to your computer and sign in to the Chabad campaign today. Help us continue the light. You can go to ChabadWestBoca.com, ChabadWestBoca.com/match, MATCH. Every dollar you give today is $2. Somebody, wonderful family, the Becker family is matching dollar to dollar. Every dollar you give is matched $2 today. In the next 24 hours, we're holding it actually with our into it, the next 29 hours. Every dollar you give is $2. Help Chabad keep the light on, keep the warmth of light on. Go to Chabad West Boca, ChabadWestBoca.com/match. ChabadWestBoca.com/match. Give $1. Your dollar is $2. God bless you all. Let's continue to learn Tanya with each other. Today is a special day. Say l'chaim. Be happy with the Alter Rebbe. Have a great day, everybody. Give charity today. Please give charity today. God bless you.
Okay, Rabbi. Thank you.